A leaked medical report just exposed why Nolan Wells' official autopsy file remains completely empty. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are analyzing the official paperwork surrounding the Nolan Wells investigation. New updates from public records reveal strange gaps in the medical timeline that legal experts cannot ignore. If you want to understand what the official reports are hiding, make sure to watch until the very end. The timeline anomalies. To understand this case, we have to look closely at the timeline. Nolan Wells disappeared from a private vessel on a Friday night. His body was recovered exactly 48 hours later by local authorities. Under normal circumstances, a standard medical examination begins within 12 hours of recovery. However, public county records show a massive delay. The state medical examiner did not sign the intake paperwork until 4 days after the recovery. Why did the paperwork sit on a desk for 96 hours, when an independent legal team requested the internal files? They discovered something even more unusual. The standard anatomical checklists were left completely blank. In typical examinations, every single organ is weighed, measured, and documented to establish the precise cause of death. In this file, those specific lines contain no data entries at all. Instead, there's only a short note at the bottom of the page. That note states that the internal examination could not be completed due to advanced structural degradation. But independent pathologists say that 48 hours in cold water does not cause that level of degradation. This contradiction is exactly why the public is asking questions. The paperwork does not match the physical reality of the timeline. Think about how standard procedures work. When the police find a person, they must document everything immediately to preserve the evidence. A delay of 4 days allows critical physical data to disappear forever. This delay was not a simple administrative mistake. Sources close to the local precinct claim that a senior official ordered the medical team to halt the process until federal agencies could review the case files. This means external forces were influencing the local investigation from day one. The missing legal protocols. Every state has strict laws regarding how medical examiners handle evidence. If an organ is removed for toxicological testing, it must be logged in a chain of custody document. This document tracks exactly who took the sample, where it went, and when it will return. In the Wells file, the chain of custody section is entirely missing. There is no record of any lab receiving samples for deeper chemical analysis. This break in legal protocol can sometimes mean that evidence was either mishandled or intentionally set aside. Let us look at a historical example to see how this works. In many high-profile cases involving influential figures, local offices often face immense pressure to close files quickly. They use vague language like undetermined variables to avoid writing down specific physical findings. By labeling the internal state as unexaminable, the office legally protects itself from being forced to testify in court later, if there is no written data about the organs. The defense lawyer cannot use the autopsy to prove or disprove a crime. This creates a permanent legal dead end. The family of Nolan Wells has hired private investigators to find the missing logs. They want to know if the samples were sent to a private laboratory outside the state. If you look closely at the maritime laws governing the area where the boat was found, the situation becomes even more complicated. Because the vessel was floating in international waters before it drifted back toward the coast, federal maritime authorities had the right to secure the scene first. The split jurisdiction between local police and federal agents often leads to lost paperwork. One department assumes the other department has the files, and in the end, the public gets no clear answers. The private vessel contracts. We must also examine the ownership of the boat where Nolan Wells spent his final hours. Registration records show the vessel belongs to a shell company registered in Delaware. This shell company is managed by a corporate law firm that represents several major Hollywood talent agencies. This means the boat was not just a private pleasure craft, it was a corporate asset used to host high-profile industry figures away from the public eye. When a major incident happens on a corporate vessel, the company's primary goal is to protect its brand value and limit financial liability. Standard non-disclosure agreements are signed by every crew member before the boat leaves the dock. These contracts carry massive financial penalties if a worker speaks to the press or shares details about the guests. This explains why the crew members have remained completely silent since that night. 2 deckhands who were on duty during the incident suddenly resigned from their positions the following week. Public transit logs show that both individuals bought one-way airline tickets to international destinations within 48 hours of giving their initial statements to the police. This rapid departure makes it incredibly difficult for independent investigators to ask follow-up questions when people with direct knowledge of an event suddenly leave the country. It usually suggests they were given the financial means to do so. The corporate law firm representing the boat owners has denied any wrongdoing, stating that the crew transfers were part of normal seasonal adjustments, but the timing is highly suspicious. It shows how the entertainment industry uses complex corporate legal grids to isolate witnesses and control the flow of information before the public can even process what happened. The digital deletion campaign. While the physical evidence was being delayed in the medical examiner's office, a digital cleanup was happening simultaneously online. Nolan Wells was highly active on social media, often posting real-time location updates and video clips of his daily life. Within 3 hours of the news of his passing, his primary accounts were deactivated. His management team claimed this was done out of respect for his family's privacy. However, digital forensic experts noticed that specific data caches were wiped before the accounts disappeared. Geotag photos taken on the boat during the early hours of that Friday night were systematically deleted from cloud servers. These photos potentially showed who else was present on the vessel before the final distress call was made. This matters because digital footprints are incredibly hard to erase completely. Even if a post is deleted from a user's feed, the server metadata still records the IP addresses of any devices connected to that account. An independent digital analysis reveals that the deletion commands did not come from Nolan's phone. They originated from a corporate server located in Los Angeles. This proves that an external entity had administrative access to his personal digital life and used that access to scrub information quickly. Why would a management company need to delete photos of a casual boat gathering? The only logical reason is that those images contain visual proof that contradicted the official narrative. Perhaps a prominent industry executive or a major celebrity was visible in the background of those photos. By removing the images, the firm prevented the public from connecting those individuals to the timeline of Nolan's disappearance. The public backlash and media silence. The mainstream entertainment news outlets have remained surprisingly quiet about these autopsy gaps. Instead of investigating the blank data lines and the missing chain of custody documents, they are focusing on Nolan's past personal struggles. This is a classic public relations tactic known as narrative redirection. By shifting the conversation toward his personal life, the media distracts the public from asking hard questions about the legal paperwork and the missing vessel logs. But the online community is not accepting this simple narrative anymore. Independent researchers are sharing the public records, comparing the timelines, and demanding a transparent review of the case. The pressure is growing, and local officials may eventually be forced to address these discrepancies. When thousands of people look at the same piece of public documentation and spot the same errors, the official story begins to fall apart under the weight of its own inconsistencies. What do you think about these missing autopsy logs? Do you believe a delay of 4 days is normal for a high-profile investigation like this? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below because I read every single perspective. Like, share, and subscribe for more.